Alright, let's get into it, because there is a lot to talk about tonight and I don't want to waste a single second of your time getting to it. Training camp is officially open for the Cleveland Browns, and I need you to understand what that actually means, because this is not just another summer workout. This is the beginning of a chapter that could define this entire franchise for years to come. Shedeur Sanders is on the field, Fannin Jr. is on the field, and the storylines that we have been waiting on all offseason are finally starting to write themselves in real time. So sit back, because I am about to walk you through everything that happened, everything that was said, and everything that is being left out by people who do not want to tell you the truth. Let me set the scene for you first, because context matters here more than people realize. This is not a normal training camp opener. This is a training camp opener under a brand new coaching staff, with a quarterback room that has more tension in it than almost any room in the entire league right now. Todd Monken is now running this offense. A new voice, a new philosophy, a new set of eyes evaluating every single throw, every single read, every single decision these quarterbacks make on that field. And when a new coaching staff walks into a situation like this, they are not looking at reputation. They are not looking at draft status. They are looking at right now. Who is making the right decision right now? Who is getting the ball out on time right now? Who looks like the guy you can trust when the lights are the brightest? That is the lens this entire camp is being viewed through, and I think a lot of outside voices are missing that completely. So here is what actually happened on day one. The media was locked out. I want you to sit with that for a second, because this detail matters more than people are giving it credit for. The Browns organization chose to control this moment themselves. They did not let outside cameras, outside reporters, outside narratives shape the first impression of this camp. Instead, the team's own footage did the talking, and what did that footage choose to show us? Shedeur Sanders. Over and over again, more than any other quarterback on that roster, the lens found him. Now, you can call that coincidence if you want, but I do not believe in that kind of coincidence, not in a league where every single frame of footage that gets released is chosen with intention. When an organization controls the message and still decides to put a certain player front and center, that tells you something about who they believe the story actually belongs to. And look, I know today was mostly individual drills. I know it was mostly rookies and quarterbacks running through pass skelly. Nothing full team, nothing physical, nothing with pads popping yet. The veterans were not even out there. But even in that setting, stripped down, no pressure, no crowd, no full install, we still saw exactly what we needed to see. Shedeur Sanders connecting with Fannin Jr. on a quick out route. Clean, sharp, no hesitation. And if you watched last season, you already know why that single moment means so much more than it looks on the surface. These two already have chemistry. This is not two players meeting for the first time and hoping something clicks. This is a continuation of something that was already building, already working, already showing signs of being special before the offseason even started. Think about that for a second, because I want you to really understand the significance of it. In this league, timing between a quarterback and his top target is not something you can manufacture overnight. It takes reps, it takes trust, it takes a quarterback knowing exactly where his receiver is going to be before the receiver even breaks off his route, and a receiver trusting that the ball is going to arrive exactly where it needs to be, exactly when it needs to be there. Shedeur Sanders and Fannin Jr. already have that foundation. So while other quarterbacks on this roster are still trying to build that same kind of connection with their weapons, Shedeur is already a step ahead, already operating with a level of familiarity that cannot be taught in a classroom. It can only be earned on the field, rep after rep, season after season. And this is exactly why I keep saying, if you are Deion Sanders, if you are anyone in that building with influence over how this room is built, you do not get in the way of that connection. You do not disrupt something that is already working. When two players find that rhythm together, smart organizations protect it. They build around it. They do not gamble it away chasing something unproven. That chemistry between Shedeur and Fannin is not a small detail buried in a preseason practice report. It is a foundation piece for what this offense could become if given the chance to fully develop. Now let's talk about the conversation that everybody actually wants to hear about. Because NFL Live stepped into this and gave us their read on the quarterback situation. And I have to be honest with you, most of what came out of that segment was actually fair and grounded, which is rare these days. One of the analysts made a point that I think deserves real credit, because it was refreshingly honest about where Deshaun Watson currently stands. He said it plainly, this is the perfect timing for Shedeur Sanders, and he backed it up with real reasoning instead of just repeating talking points. Think about what the quarterback position demands in this era of football: mobility, escapability, the ability to extend plays with your legs when the pocket collapses, the ability to absorb hits and bounce right back up like nothing happened. And then think about where Deshaun Watson is physically right now, coming off not one, but two Achilles surgeries. That is not a knock on his career. That is not disrespecting what he accomplished, because we all remember what he was before the injuries. A Pro Bowl caliber talent. A quarterback who kept his previous franchise in serious playoff contention year after year. Nobody is erasing that. But football does not care about what you used to be. It only cares about what you can do right now, today, on this field, under these lights. And that is exactly the window that is opening up for Shedeur Sanders, a new coaching staff, a fresh system being installed by Todd Monken, zero legacy expectations weighing him down from a previous era of this franchise. If Shedeur can take that leap, that visible, undeniable jump from year one to year two, and show it early, show it consistently, show it in a way that the other 10 guys in that huddle look at him and just know, deep down, that he is going to put them in the right position every single time, that he is going to deliver that football exactly where it needs to be, then this decision starts making itself. That is how quarterback battles are actually won in this league. Not through hype, not through draft status, not through outside noise, but through the huddle believing in the guy under center. And then there was a line that stuck with me, because it is one of those quotes that sounds simple but carries a ton of weight if you actually think about it. The idea that if you have two quarterbacks, you actually have none. I have heard variations of that phrase from coaches around the league for years, and it is true every single time. Indecision at the quarterback position is one of the most dangerous things a franchise can carry into a season. Players feel it. Coaches feel it. It shows up in body language. It shows up in preparation. It shows up in how hard a locker room commits to one direction. The Browns have a limited window here to make this decision, and if they let this drag out too long without clarity, they risk finding themselves in this exact same conversation 12 months from now, still wondering, still guessing, still without an answer. Now, here is where I want to push back a little bit, because not everything said in that conversation lined up with what is actually coming out of the building. There was a suggestion that this quarterback battle would be decided within a matter of weeks. I do not believe that. I do not believe that timeline reflects reality, and honestly, it does not reflect what Todd Monken himself has said publicly. Monken has been clear that this competition is going to play out over a longer runway than people expect. This is not going to be some rushed decision made in the second week of camp just to satisfy outside pressure or media speculation. My honest read on this, and I want you to really sit with this prediction, is that we are not getting a real answer until we are deep into preseason, possibly not until after the first or second preseason game. That is when the coaching staff will have seen enough live snaps, enough pressure situations, enough decision-making under real competitive stress to actually make a confident call. A couple of weeks of individual drills and non-contact reps is simply not enough information to make a decision. This important, and any team that rushes that call is setting itself up for regret. So let's zoom out for a second, because I think it is important to put all of this into perspective. This is a franchise that has been searching for stability at the most important position in football for a very long time. Every single rep in this camp is being magnified because of that history. Every throw, every read, every decision under pressure is going to be picked apart, analyzed, and turned into a headline. That is the reality Shedeur Sanders is stepping into, and honestly, that is the reality he has to be ready for if he wants to be the guy long-term. Pressure like this either breaks a young quarterback or it forges him into exactly what a franchise needs. And based on what we have already seen, based on the chemistry with Fannin, based on the way this coaching staff has positioned him, based on the way the team's own cameras chose to highlight him on day one, I believe this is a young man who understands exactly what is in front of him and is not shrinking from it. I also want to touch on something that a lot of people overlook when they talk about quarterback competitions like this one. It is not just about talent, it is about command. It is about walking into a huddle full of grown men, some of them veterans who have seen quarterbacks come and go, and having them believe in you without hesitation. That kind of trust is not given. It is earned play by play, practice by practice, decision by decision. And if Shedeur Sanders continues building on what we saw today, continues connecting with his top target, continues showing the poise that this new system demands, that trust is going to keep growing inside that locker room, whether the outside world is ready to acknowledge it or not. Now, I know some of you are going to say I am being biased here, that I am only seeing what I want to see. But I want you to actually think about the evidence in front of us instead of dismissing it. A locked practice, controlled by the team, that still chose to spotlight one quarterback above everyone else. A veteran receiver already in rhythm with him before pads have even gone on. A national analyst independently pointing out that the timing lines up for him to take over. A head coach on record saying this competition will not be rushed, which only benefits the guy who needs real reps to keep proving himself. None of that is manufactured narrative. That is simply what is happening in front of our eyes. And I think it is important that we call it exactly what it is instead of pretending we do not see it. Deshaun Watson's situation deserves respect, and I want to be clear about that, because I am not here to dismiss what he has meant to this organization or what he could still mean if his body allows him to get back to that level. But respect for a career does not mean ignoring the physical reality of where he currently stands. 2 Achilles surgeries is not a small setback. It is one of the most difficult injuries in professional sports to fully recover from, especially at the level this league demands from its quarterbacks today. Mobility matters. Elusiveness matters. The ability to create something out of nothing when a play breaks down matters more now than it ever has in the history of this game. And right now, in this exact moment, this camp is not shaping up to reward reputation, it is shaping up to reward whoever proves, day after day, snap after snap, that they are the answer this franchise has been searching for. There is another layer to this story that gets buried underneath all the quarterback talk, and that is the quality control side of things, the fine details casual fans never think about. When you install a brand new system under a new play caller, quarterback play does not exist in a vacuum. Footwork, timing, protection checks, tempo, all of it gets rebuilt from the ground up. And that process is exactly where separation happens between competitors who look similar on paper. The staff is not just watching who throws the prettiest ball, they are watching who processes information fastest, who adjusts protections before the snap, who gets through progressions without hesitating, and who stays calm when a look does not match the whiteboard. Those invisible reps never make a highlight clip, but they absolutely decide who wins a job like this. And based on the early signs, based on the chemistry already visible with his top target, Shedeur Sanders looks like a player who has already internalized mental processing that usually takes young quarterbacks years to develop. I also think it is worth mentioning how much pressure sits on this entire offensive staff right now, not just the quarterbacks themselves. Todd Monken did not take this job to babysit a stagnant quarterback room. He took it because he believes he can develop whoever ends up under center into a legitimate weapon. Every rep distribution, every situational package he installs is going to be scrutinized by everyone from national analysts down to die-hard fans breaking down every clip frame by frame. That pressure benefits the guy who thrives in unstructured chaos, who does not need a perfectly clean pocket to make something happen, who can create just enough space to deliver a football on time even when things break down around him. And let's not pretend locker room dynamics do not matter here either, because they absolutely do. Veteran players talk, position groups talk, word travels fast about who is putting in extra work after practice, who is building real relationships with teammates instead of just clocking in and out. If the whispers about Shedeur Sanders staying connected with his weapons away from the cameras continue to hold up, that only strengthens the foundation this quarterback room is being built on. Trust inside a huddle is not manufactured through a press conference. It is built quietly, day after day, long before the lights ever turn on for a real game. So here is where I land on all of this. Training camp has officially begun, and already, in day one, we got more clarity than some entire off-seasons have given us. We saw where the cameras pointed, we saw chemistry that has already been building, we heard analysts independently backing what a lot of us already believed, and we got confirmation, straight from the head coach himself, that this decision is not going to be rushed, which tells me everything I need to know about how confident this staff actually is in letting this thing play out the right way. I do not think we get a definitive answer in the next couple of weeks like some are suggesting. I think this stretches out deep into preseason, maybe even down to the final cuts, before we get true clarity on who is walking into that regular season opener as QB1. But if I am being completely honest with you, based on everything we have seen so far, based on the chemistry, based on the system, based on the physical reality of this quarterback room, I believe we already know which direction this is heading. We just have to be patient enough to let the tape confirm what our eyes have already started to tell us. Let me know what you think about all of this, because I know opinions are split, and I know some of you are going to disagree with parts of my read here. That is completely fine. That is exactly why we have these conversations in the first place. Training camp is just getting started. There is a long road ahead before final rosters are set, and I am going to be right here breaking down every development as it happens, because this is one of the biggest quarterback stories in the league right now. Until the next update, take care, and I will see you very soon.